The last chapter ends when Momo discovers that Koki is hiding on a wall using an invisible sheet. What will the friends do now that they found the girl they were chasing? Let's find out. We continue the story in chapter 173 titled Corner the Criminal, where after Momo threw something at Koki, she shouted that she had found this dumb ass. Aira was surprised by this because Koki had shown them a ninja art where you could hide from plain sight. Meanwhile, Momo explained that girl had hidden behind a curtain that the pygmies had sewn, even though that girl was the one who started the attack. Okarun shouted to never mind that for now because fire was enveloping the sheet where Koki was hiding. So Momo quickly grabbed a fire extinguisher using her power and prepared to put out the fire. She sprayed the fire with dry chemical foam from it, making Aira and Okarun cough from the smoke it created. After that, Momo charged at the pygmies, and while kicking them, she shouted that they were defeated now that their princess was taken down, while they started removing their tiny masks. Some pygmies approached Okarun, and soon they managed to remove the stitching that held his hand to the floor. They did the same for Aira, and after that, the two were happy because they could move again. Okarun stood up, and his relief quickly disappeared because he thought about whether they were really okay here since their surroundings were still chaotic and they still couldn't see the pygmies. Because of this, Momo pointed them out to him and Aira and explained that it was okay, and they were waving white flags, indicating their surrender. Momo approached the pygmies and directly asked if that meant they accepted their defeat, and they responded with the words "Mew Mew," which puzzled Momo and made her comment that she had no idea what they said. Okarun yiked on the side because it was unsettling that they couldn't see the enemy, while Aira seemed to be blushing behind him. She suddenly poked his back, which made Okarun shout in surprise, making Aira laugh at him because he got scared, which made him comment that this wasn't the time to lose focus. Because of this, Aira held Okarun's arm and cutely said not to be angry at her. So Okarun flustered replied that he wasn't angry, while Momo got irritated at Aira again and shouted for her to get away from him. After that, Momo immediately turned her attention back to the pygmies and asked why they attacked them, but when she turned, she saw them clustering under Koki as if trying to lift her, making her shout that the pygmies were trying to escape. She ordered Okarun to catch Koki, so he quickly moved while the pygmies were getting nervous because they had been noticed. Meanwhile, Aira transformed again into her acro-silky form and used her hair because they could see the target, so it would be easy to catch her. However, when she tried to wrap around Koki, the pygmies managed to maneuver her body like it was being carried by a large tentacle because of how many they were. This irritated Momo, and she asked how they were doing this, while Okarun noticed something strange about it. He explained to Momo that if controlling pygmies was that girl's power, wasn't it weird that she was unconscious but they were still moving, which caught Momo's attention. On the other hand, Aira screamed and started laughing loudly because it turned out some pygmies had crawled on her and started tickling her. Fortunately, Momo quickly noticed her, so using her power, she removed the pygmies from her body while shouting for them to get out of their way. Okarun also fell victim to their tickling, so he also started laughing loudly, which worried Momo. While removing the pygmies from her friends' bodies, she commented that no doubt they were trying to escape with Koki using their own will. She noticed some pygmies clustering at the room's door, so she quickly grabbed them using her powers, but she didn't expect them to crawl Koki along the pipelines on the wall while hanging. While this was happening, let's go to outside the empty space, where Gigi, Sakata, and Vamola were waiting for Momo and the others. Gigi asked what they would do there because their break time was almost over, so Sakata answered to wait because his brain was working on it at super high speed right now. He explained that Okarun and the others were probably trapped inside an empty space, so Gigi asked if there was a maximum number of people who could enter there because they couldn't get in. Gigi suddenly remembered that when Vamola transforms into her kaiju form, the world becomes an empty space, which might mean her suit has the ability to bring out empty space. Vamola brought out her suit and agreed with this, and explained that although she didn't know all its functions, she remembered setting that mode to heart-pounding hidden mode. When Vamola activated that mode, they immediately entered the empty space, and they saw here that the pygmies were carrying Koki's body on the ceiling, which gave their faces a bewildered expression. The door of the room where Momo and the others were opened, and they flew out of it, pushing Gigi towards the wall, making him elbow Sakata's face, who was beside him. When they fell to the ground, Aira and Okarun started laughing loudly, while Gigi was shouting how sexy Aira was because he saw her only in underwear, while Sakata, gasping, told Gigi he would kill this handsome devil, and Momo was surprised because they were all there. Gigi asked what was happening and why Okarun and Aira were undressed and laughing. So Momo shouted not to think about that now, and to chase Koki's body because that girl would disappear from their sight. Because of this, Gigi prepared to run while letting Momo ride on his hand. Vamola also started running while Sakata was commenting that it seemed Gigi had made him angry. The four chased Koki, while Sakata was shouting that he was letting his inner demons release his powers, and they should tremble and await him. After being tickled by the pygmies, Okarun gasped and shouted for Momo to wait for him, while Aira was asking if he was okay. While running, Gigi commented that they moved so fast, and if they turned at a corner, they would lose them. So Momo replied to just hold on while calling him Mr. Athlete, and if he couldn't chase them, no one could. Sakata brought out Nanoskin and shouted to leave the situation to him, along with the fragment of the Great Kinta he was holding. He transformed his Nanoskin into a hoverboard, and he quickly flew using it. Gigi was amazed by him, while Momo was shouting for him to catch them while calling him Erosuke. While chasing them, Sakata shouted for the ladies to accept their love for him. The pygmy started going down the stairs, but using his hoverboard, he could still chase them while saying to watch how he moves. He said they should be amazed by his majestic form while continuing to chase Koki's body, and he added for them to say how fine he looked, and for them to say that they really adored him. It turned out he was thinking about Vamola, Momo, and Aira while saying these things, and he even shouted for them to tell him they loved him. Unfortunately, something suddenly hit Sakata's face while he was flying, which knocked him off his hoverboard. When Gigi and the others arrived at the scene, they wondered who had stopped him. It turned out their school nurse was responsible for this, and she had also managed to enter the empty space. She asked them if they were being bullies while calling them baldies, and it seemed Koki had reported them to her, so she thought that's what they were doing. And there you have it. We have the same thought. How did their school nurse enter the empty space? Will she become an obstacle in catching Koki? Or maybe they'll be able to explain what's happening. Let's wait and see.